All right, in this video here, I'm gonna show you guys around this home theater, which I actually built in a shed. And if you haven't seen the full build video, there is a link in the description of this video if you wanna see the entire process of what it took to actually put this together. Alexa, turn on the theater. So this is the main space here. The shed itself is 14 by 20 feet in size. And then once I built it in, you're subtracting out about 12 inches of space. This back wall right here with the screen actually has about 18 inches of depth that was taken up because there's a lot of sound absorption that is happening back in here. A lot of people think that the main attraction is the screen. I've come to find out that it really is the acoustics in the room that are the main attraction. And I'll get to the speakers here in just a second. Okay, this screen here is a Seymour screen and it is 110 inches in diagonal. Now I know a lot of you guys that watched my build video, you commented thinking that the screen is too small for this space because a lot of you guys just want to fill up the entire wall with screens, but there's a couple reasons why I didn't do that. The first and foremost reason is that this screen width is perfectly at the 46-degree viewing angle from these two main seats right here where Lauren, my wife, and I usually sits. These are what we call the money seats right here. So when sitting in this position right here, our viewing angle is approximately 46 degrees. And that's important because that's the limit of what your eyes can see looking straight forward, and you don't have eye strain trying to look back and forth when you're sitting here at this specific distance. To each his own in terms of how big a screen you actually want, but in our case, I didn't want anybody to get tired watching a movie for 2 hours because they're having to look all around. Yes, I know you get a much more immersive experience when you go massive with the screen, but I chose to go with really comfortable viewing. Another reason is there's actually speakers built in here to these angled parts. So I have triad silver speakers for the LCR, the left, center, and right. The center LCR speaker right here is behind the screen. So this is an acoustically transparent screen, which means that the audio can pass through comfortably, but you don't lose any quality in the screen. Seymour screens have been fantastic. This screen has certainly lived up to all of the hype. The projector is from JVC, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit, but it is a native 4K. So this screen was important to make sure that we got that really crisp image. Another feature that we absolutely love about it is the fact that it has this manual masking. It is manual, but if you're going to jump into automated masking, you're jumping in a $10,000 screen. So this kind of manual masking works really well. They're just simple magnets that holds these fabric panels in there. And just like that, we now have a bigger screen. There you go. For all of you guys that were commenting saying I have a too small a screen, there's your bigger screen. Kidding. This is for a 16:9 aspect ratio, and it is the 235 cinescope when you have the masking on. And we just, set these panels off to the side. Then when we switch to watching a movie again, boom, we're in cinescope mode. So that's really cool. I love that about this screen. This screen is also easy to pull off if I needed to. So it's just on a French cleat up here, which makes it really easy for me to remove it if I need to and service anything in behind there. So behind this fabric panels here is all of the sound absorption that I built into there. So it's just stuffed full of insulation to absorb a lot of the sound. This is a vent up here on this top side. The bottom here, there are two 21-inch eminence drivers in there to handle all of those low frequencies. And I'll show you guys those subwoofers here in a little bit. Right here on the left, I did go ahead and build in a little cabinet so that we can, store blankets and paper towels. You never know when you're going to have an accident or spill. And there's a little vacuum cleaner back in there as well too, just to quickly vacuum up anything. So it's nice to have that extra little bit of storage built right in there. And I did build everything in the same fabric so that it was nicely matched. And most importantly, it doesn't reflect any light. The last thing you want around your screen is anything that's gonna bounce light off more than it has to. So these really absorb the light nicely. Inside of here, this is all of the good stuff for controlling all of the audio, the video. The router is in here. Everything is, we've got an Xbox One S in there, but we have the Denon receiver in there, the NX6000 Behringer 2-channel amp to run those subwoofers, and then the Panasonic UB8 20 is also in there for playing our Ultra HD DVDs. So I'll go a little bit more detail on that a little bit later as well, if you guys want me to, and show you everything that is inside. All right, let's move over here to some of the lighting features in this room. We've of course got the sconce lightings around the side, which create a nice little mood and atmosphere. Blue LED lighting, which I can change to different colors, but that just matches these Valencia theater seats really well. And then if you go up into the ceiling, you're gonna see some just simple recessed lighting, which I went through several different styles of those until I got the ones that I liked. But then the main attraction in the ceiling, of course, is the fiber optic star ceiling. I've got a separate dedicated build video on that. I'll link that here on the screen right now so you guys can go and check that out. But this took quite a bit of work. My brother-in-law Rick and I put this together over several days, and it was quite the project, but I think totally worth it, because we had to build every single one of these panels and drill every single hole. Well, I'll let you guys just watch that separate video. I'll link it in the description as well. But we love this fiber optic star ceiling. It just adds that extra luxury feel in the home theater. Plus, it's subtle enough that when we're watching a movie or a show, like most of the other lights get turned off. But these are subtle enough that they don't interfere with the screen, and it just creates that extra little bit of ambiance, which we absolutely love. All right, so I was talking about how the audio and the acoustics in this room is extremely important, because while the projector is really cool and it's nice to have that really amazing image, it's the sound that really immerses you into the movie or the show that you're watching. Took a lot of extra time. My friend Steven Smith really helped me out on the acoustics of this room and really planning and mapping it out. If you guys have not talked to him and you're thinking about building a home theater, you need to contact him, because he knows his stuff when it comes to audio and placing speakers. But he also dictated what these acoustic panels needed to do in terms of the density of the insulation and absorption that they have inside of them. So I really built these to spec, but these were all hand built. I do have a separate build video on these specifically as well too, if you want to dive in and say, well, how in the world did you make these? Because these are all handmade and then filled and then the fabric wrapped around them. My wife Lauren actually helps me with the design of these, and we're really happy about how those turned out. Just a really nice decorative element, and they do their job. Behind them is one of the Triad surround speakers. So this is our middle surround here, left side, and it is nicely hidden behind the acoustic panel. And all I did was simply, cut out a little section there, and this fabric is acoustically transparent, so it allows us to just have those speakers hidden and out of the sight. Now, some people do like to see their speakers in the room. We preferred to just have all of the speakers just hidden. And that turned out to be a really good choice, I think, because it really makes you wonder where the sound is coming from. And it makes your brain just focus more on where it's coming from in the movie. You don't really know where the speakers are. I mean, I do, but most people watching movies, they have no idea where the sound's coming from. They just hear it from the direction that the director intended for that sound to come from. Speaking of speakers, there are also 4 overhead speakers, and there's a speaker underneath this panel, and they are hiding the amazing Triad silver Dolby Atmos overhead speakers. So inside here is this Atmos speaker that can rotate and point, and it's pointing right to the money seat where you guys are sitting right now, and pointing directly to that. So these tweeters I can move, I can rotate the whole speaker in there, so it's very dialed in and calibrated right to where we wanted that sound to go. And there are 4 Dolby Atmos speakers in the ceiling, and they make an amazing difference when watching a show. And then I designed all of these panels to be magnetic, so I can take them down, I can service stuff easily. In fact, even all these Starlight panels are also all magnetic, and no matter how hard the bass is hitting inside of here, these things stay solid and never shift or move. So all of these panels here, we've got 2 speakers in the rear here. So behind these acoustic panels, we've got the left and right rear speakers. So all in all, it's a 7.2.4 surround sound system, Dolby Atmos surround sound system, meaning that you've got 7 surround sound speakers, including the front 3. You've got 2 subwoofers, which are placed in front of this screen. And then you've got 4 overhead speakers. So if you guys have any more questions about how that's set up or how that's set, I kind of designed all that along with Steven Smith, just comment down below, let me know what your questions are in regards to that. Come on up here and I'll show you one more thing. This is our little fridge, microwave, concession stand area. A lot of people give us, you know, a little bit of question about why we didn't do a popcorn machine. But at the end of the day, this popcorn is just as good, and you throw it in the microwave, it's ready in a couple of minutes, and there's zero mess. We've used popcorn machines before, and as cool as they look and they feel in terms of the experience, they're a pain to clean up, not to mention all that butter and grease everywhere. So anyway, we settled for some microwave popcorn. We've got our drinks inside of here that we can access easily. Really nice to have this fridge in here. And then up here, we've got a little tiny DVD station. I know a lot of you guys out there have some massive DVD selections, but we just got into the whole home theater thing here about a year ago. And so I've got a little light right here that illuminates this. In fact, why don't you come in close here and take a look at this Back to the Future collector hoverboard. I actually got the official Marty McFly hoverboard. Look at there. I don't know, I just like that thing. It's kind of cool. It came with the Back to the Future trilogy set there. And this little light here is really great because it's just touch sensitive and you just tap it and it's on and it's off. Got this on Amazon. I'll link that down below. All right, so this beast of a projector is the JVC NZ7, and it is a native 4K projector. It's got screen memory position. So if you did have different, you know, sizes of screens you wanted to use, this thing will store those, and you, with a push of a button, it can shift to the other screen size memory position. This is a counterweight. It's an anti-vibration weight that I installed because the base is so like solid in here to prevent the projector from shaking. In fact, I didn't install this initially, and when some of those heavy hitting scenes hit, like King Kong throwing it down, I thought the screen was shaking, but it wasn't the screen shaking. It was actually the projector vibrating back here and causing it to look like the screen was shaking. So I installed this, I picked this up online, and it has been a game changer because it completely eliminated all vibration going to this screen. And no matter how high we have it cranked up in here, the screen does not look like it's vibrating anymore. So this projector has been top notch. No complaints whatsoever. It is amazing, amazing picture. One other feature that I knew I wanted to put in here was a good air filter. It's a pretty enclosed room, not a lot of ventilation, so I wanted to make sure that the air was properly ventilated. Behind the seats here, I did install a Rabbit Air filter, and wasn't very cheap, but this thing does the job when it comes to filtering out the air. It has a special pet dander filter in there for hyperallergenic. Definitely recommend those Rabbit Air filters, especially if you have little ones like this one here who just wants to go to sleep now. This is your moment right here. You're on camera. Okay, we'll let her sleep. Definitely pick up a Rabbit Air if you want good home air filtration. I'm not sponsored by them, but there is a link in the description so you can get the best price on them. One thing that we've been walking around here this whole time, but haven't really talked about yet, are these luxurious, amazing Valencia Theater seats. If you guys have followed any of my other videos, you know I'm a huge fan of Valencia Theater seating, not just because they were nice enough to sponsor my original home theater shed video, but just because they're very good quality seats. We've been using them and using them and using them now for over a year, and they still look brand new. The quality of the material, the build construction, the comfort of them, they're just really top notch. And in fact, when sitting in them, these two middle ones are actually the XL size. So they're larger, and I'm 6'7". I'm no small drink of water, but these XLs really fit me super nice. It's nice because it's one touch. You've got your feet just going up. Evie, you enjoying that ride? And then you can have the headrest come up as well. which is, it's just so supportive. So even though I go back here with the seat, I can increase the head position, and then there's even lumbar support. So this middle one, I push that out, and I can perfectly position that to support that lower back area. So it just hits all the right places. The Excel seats, I'm not even actually sure I'm going to get up now because this is just so comfortable. But there's a lot of other creative things that they have built in along with the LED lighting. You've got the ability to pull out a tray here, and they go into these accessory slots right here. Got a tray here, you can have it, food or drink. They do have the cup holders here as well. And then if you have a glass of wine, then of course you need the very stylish wine glass holder, and that wine glass with stem just fits really nicely into that. We've used that several times, and it just works very well for holding those wine glasses. They are not the cheapest seats, but they're not the most expensive either. And I think that's a really good balance when it comes to getting high quality theater seats, is you don't have to spend a fortune on them to get high quality, as long as you purchase Valencia Theater seats. And they're nice enough to give me a great discount on these seats. So be sure to check the link in the description of the video for a link to get an extra discount on these Valencia Theater seats. All right, I promised you guys I'd let you take a peek at these 21-inch subwoofers that are in here. And so let me pull this panel back, and there they are. So these are two GSG Audio BTS, which stands for behind the screen, subwoofer enclosures. It was a DIY pack that they shipped to you, and then I actually built these with my nephew Mark. Mark and I built these, and they were really easy to put together. They did take a little bit of time because you're hand building them and gluing them together, but they provide amazing instructions. And oh, that's right, yeah, I happen to actually have an entire build video on these subwoofers. So if you want to take a look and see the whole process that we went through, and you're considering maybe building some subwoofer enclosures yourself, you can check that video right here above. I got the card there linked, so go take a look at that video. But it was really rewarding actually to build these subwoofers, because every time they hit, every time they thunder and roar, it just, it feels kind of good that, it had a little part in putting these subwoofers together, and they definitely do the job. These two subwoofers handle all of the low frequencies that we possibly need in this theater. And it's kind of sad, but they're never seen because they're behind this acoustic fabric panel. In fact, I'll put a link to where I got all of this fabric down in that description as well, because they're a great company to work with, and I really enjoyed working with this material. Material does matter when it comes to wrapping things, how they stretch, how they form, how they adhere to the materials. I actually get a lot of questions on my build video about this right here. This is a control center by Brilliant Controls, and we have them throughout our entire house. I was actually able to customize the images that come up on here. So we got little movie posters. That's Lauren's favorite movie right there. The Notebook, and it just kind of cycles through various movie posters, which I thought was really fitting for the home theater. But what's nice about it is we can control everything right here inside of the Brilliant Controls. From all the lights that are in here, we can control them. We can have an intercom system to talk to the inside of the house from the shed theater, which is great. And then I've got some presets here, so when we're ready to start the movie, it'll dim all the lights in here. When we actually start the movie, then you can tap that and it turns all the appropriate lights out. And then over here we've got 3 switches. So the sliders, these work as sliders, which is really nice and intuitive to just adjust the lights exactly how we want them. And there's even a camera intercom system built right in here, so that we can do video chats to people inside the house if we want to talk or call them up for dinner. But the majority of what we use this for is actually for Alexa, is all built into this as well. So most of what we do in the theater is done by voice, and it's just by simply talking to... I have an answer for that. I know, Alexa, it's okay. I didn't actually ask you anything. Brilliant Control. If you guys have not taken a look at Brilliant Control, take a look at Brilliant Controls. Yes, I do have a link down below so you can see the exact model that I have here installed and throughout the rest of the house. And then we also have the Nest thermostat, which we've also got throughout the house, and this does a great job. Because one thing that we didn't really talk about is that there is a mini split in here, and that's what handles all of the heating and cooling for this shed. And may I remind you, we're in a shed still, and so it's kind of cool that we were able to get all of this, like, typically very high-end luxury home theater environment atmosphere in a shed. Because Most of you guys probably don't have the space for this kind of a setup in your house. This is a 20 by 14 shed that just beautifully accommodated everything that I wanted to build into this space. And in fact, I'm gonna be doing a lot more videos just like this, building out a lot of cool spaces all inside of a shed right here on my channel, Man Shed. So make sure you smash that subscribe button and the bell notification, because I've got some projects that are in the works right now and you do not want to miss the next shed that I turn into an epic space.